What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel for the VITURE Pro XR glasses review. And a huge shout out to VITURE, who did send this kit over to me to check out. It's the dock for the Nintendo Switch, the glasses, the 8-bit controller, and all of that. So the whole Pro kit there I want to take a look at in this video. Really appreciate it. Not a sponsored video, but they did send everything over for me to check out. I've been using this stuff for about a month. I really wanted to spend some time with it because I don't use these kind of products a lot, or these types of glasses. I wear glasses in real life and contacts, and we'll talk more about that as we get into it, since these do have the myopia adjustments up here and that type of thing. And it's really been mostly pros for me with these and not a lot of cons, and we'll get into all that in the video. And I really do want to focus on my experience with the devices I use here a lot, which is the ROG Ally, the Legion Go, the Steam Deck, and the Nintendo Switch. And while it's really hard to set up and record and show you guys what the experience is really like with these, I'll just do my best to explain it, to talk about it, and to see if it's something I would recommend for you watching. You know, it's really going to depend on a lot of things. But I want to get into it. We're going to take a look at some specs, or rather go over the specs really quick for these, an unboxing of this Pro kit, because there's a lot that comes in this kit. I want you guys to see how that comes, and then we'll talk about my experience on the different devices, and then wrap up with some pros and cons and final thoughts. So let's go ahead and get into the review, guys, and start off with some specs for the device. I won't take the time to hit specs on everything here, but I do want to hit the specs for the glasses. So I think their previous edition was 120-inch screen, 60 hertz, something like that, and it was like less than 2000 nit brightness, if I remember right. And on these, we're going a 135-inch screen, 120 hertz, up to 4,000 nits on the brightness. And I will say it's quite amazing. The screen is huge right here in front of my face when I have the glasses running. And the 120 hertz is really nice for someone like me who, I don't know, I'm very sensitive to frame rate on PC and on consoles and stuff like that. And I haven't had any eye fatigue or issues with this, so they've been really good with that. There's 3D support, which is great. We have the myopia adjustments up here, which we'll talk more about as we get into the review, so you can really adjust up to, like, I think it's negative 5.0. We'll get more into that. There you have the spatial audio on the sides, which works really well, especially sitting next to somebody. I'd sit next to over here my wife a lot at night, you know, watching TV, movies, stuff like that. I might decide I want to work on something, or game, or check out something, or some videos. This is freaking awesome for that. So that's been really great. So that's pretty much kind of the specs we're looking at. It's a gorgeous display inside these. I wish I had a better way to show you guys as we get into the review, but I don't. So I'll do the best that I can do to talk about it and show you guys what all this stuff looks like. Let's go ahead and do a quick unboxing of this kit so you guys can see what comes in the whole Pro kit with the controller and the dock and the glasses and all that. So let's get into the unboxing real quick. All right, for those interested, we'll just take everything out real quick so you can see it getting unboxed, and take a look before we get into the main review here. But we'll start here with the shades they send you. So if the electrochromatic blackout isn't enough and you need to really cover for some bright light, you've got these that you can pop on there that work really good to black things out if you need them. We've also got the mount that's used with the dock and the Switch, which works really good. We're going to take a look at that in the review as well. But yeah, you're able to snap your Switch in there, put your dock in there. You've got a little short wire to put them together, and yeah, you're able to play really nicely on the glasses there. We've got a really nice VITURE sponsored here 8-bit controller. And this works really well. I've mostly used it on the Switch setup, since you do need to use the dock and the Switch together, but it comes with your charging wire for USB-C to USB. And yeah, it's a pretty comfortable, decent controller. Kind of reminds me of the Pro controller for the Switch, and that's kind of what I've mostly been using it as here with the VITURE setup. And then we've also got the dock, which is quite nice, and of course has a battery pack. You charge this up, adds battery life to the device it's plugged into, and that type of thing. And this is how you're able to dock and use your Switch and that type of thing. But yeah, build quality on this is great, and it's been working really well. We'll take a closer look as we get into the review for it here. But yeah, really nice job here on the dock. And then of course we have the actual glasses, which are boxed pretty cool. The way you open this up, this kind of reveals here a couple little shelves with your paperwork in there, and then you've got your VITURE glasses, and on the front you've got some steps to go through, and it shows you right away how to go ahead and connect some of the popular devices. And then the really important nose pads in here that really help adjust the glasses for you. So we'll talk about that as well. And then of course we have the actual VITURE Pro XR glasses here, which are really nice. I was impressed right away when I unboxed these, how they felt and looked. They definitely feel nice quality, and my month of time with these has been really great. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get moved into the review. Real quick though, I want to take a look at the pricing for you. So this will vary. Full price is pushing 700 something US for the Pro Collection, which is what we're looking at here, where I have everything. But then you have some other options if you just want to get the glasses or shades or the dock. They have a wide collection or selection here of different ways that you can order these parts, and they're usually on sale. Most of the time there's always some kind of sale happening, so always check the website and some other sites that sell these. So just always check to make sure you're getting the best price when you're shopping for these, and I'll try to throw some links in the description as well. All right, guys, with the specs and the unboxing and all of that out of the way, let's get into a little bit more of the whole meat and potatoes of using these glasses and what my experience has been like with these. So as far as the fit and adjustment goes with wearing these glasses, again, I talked about the nose pads a lot, how you're going to be able to slide those on and off pretty easily. They're easy to change out and try different ones. But when it comes to getting the glasses to sit where you need height-wise to see, you know, as much of that screen as you can without the blurry edges or anything like that, and to really get the most clarity out of it, it is super important to go through and find which nose pieces work best for you. I kind of took this for granted at first till a buddy of mine sent me a message and said, if you're having any trouble, do not discount the importance of the nose pads, the different nose pads that come with this, because they make a really big difference of how they sit on your face and line up. So definitely don't overlook that. They come with those for a reason, and it does make a big difference. And my wife actually needs a different set than I do to get the most out of clarity there. It's been fun having her, someone who doesn't wear glasses, doesn't use tech and all that, next to me, that loves taking these things and trying them out as well. She actually absolutely loves these things, and is probably going to steal them from me eventually to watch movies. But yeah, that's don't underestimate the importance of the nose guards. They do make a really big difference. We talked about the electrochromatic ability to turn on and off that front blackout filter that they have on there, and that they also send, or you can get these blackout lenses that'll go over and work really well. Now these are great, but honestly, I've not needed them yet. Again, I've gone out on my deck during the day. I've played in here. I've used these a lot, and I have no issue with the light coming in. Like as soon as I click these and they black out, my display is super vivid inside, regardless of the lighting outside. Now you don't have any blocking here, right? So you're still going to get the light that'll come in here. It does not affect me when I'm using the device and when I'm looking at my screen. The only time it affects me is like right now when I'm talking to you and they're not on. I just have them here so you can see them on. You can see through these because they're not on. And the inside lenses in there, they pick up the glare if I'm in the lights here. So I can actually see Jack Skeleton here on my shirt right here. I can move my head around and just look at my whole shirt under here. That disappears as soon as I black out this and I have my display on. I don't notice any glaring. So that's just something that for me I noticed. Besides that, the brightness adjustments are great. It gets super bright again up to 4,000 nits. The volume of the sound, so you've got the speakers right in the top of these things, and they're right over where your ears are at. And if I max out the volume, my wife, of course, next to me on the couch back there, she can hear it. It's not disturbing to her, but she can hear it coming out of it. You can hear the sound. If I turn it down, though, because I don't need it that loud, when I only have it at like half volume or so, playing a game or doing whatever, that's when it comes down, and she's only hearing our surrounds, our TV here, and then I'm hearing this and all the outside sound. But it's not distracting to either one of us, and it works fine. So I think these speakers and the way these work are great. Of course, there's going to be some spill out of the sound if you have them really loud and you're around other people. They may hear you, but if you don't and you have them down a little bit, it doesn't seem to be any kind of issue with that at all. As far as the comfort for wearing these for a long time, I really don't have a problem with it. From some other reviews I saw, I thought they were going to be a little tight back here, and you know, I don't have a super large head, but it's not small either, and there's a little bit of pressure right in there that'll push. It's nothing though. I mean, like, again, I've used these up to an hour at a time. I don't typically do anything where I need to have them on for longer than that, but the comfort level for me is really good. They're not heavy, they're pretty light, and you can shake, you know, at least for me anyway, they stay on really well. So that is something to keep in mind. You know, you're out in public or you're moving around. I don't think you're walking with these on or anything, but if you happen to pop them on, you're waiting for a plane, train, whatever the case is, or whatever, I don't think you have to worry about digging around or looking for something and then falling off your face. They're quite comfortable, and they stay put really well. Now, another part of the, as far as the fit and comfort is the magnetic latch, which works really, really well. It's super strong. It just kind of goes right over and attaches really firmly to the glasses. And even with them on, you can come back here and I can just easily place it and it's ready to plug into my USB-C on my device out, or to the dock for my Switch, or whatever the case. It's really easy. Pull it right off, no problem. Throw it right back on, no problem. It finds its own little spot there. Really easy, and as far as comfort, it doesn't feel like it pulls down, and it doesn't feel like it unhooks super easily, but it is just a magnet, so a little tug, and you can get it off of there. But yeah, it doesn't affect the comfort at all, and it seems to stay put really well for me as well. Okay, so the other important part about adjusting these, and each person is going to have a different experience, and this can kind of be where it gets hard to recommend some stuff like this, especially people who may wear glasses or have astigmatism or anything like that. So I do wear glasses and I do have some astigmatism to deal with, but I was able to use the myopia adjustments on the top to get these looking really good for me, to a point where it wasn't eye fatigue or headache or anything like that. I was really impressed with it. Now, as far as my bit of astigmatism I have to deal with, they don't really account for that, but myself and a couple of other friends of mine who have similar issues were able to use these particular glasses. A buddy of mine actually has had them for a while, and he gets along with them just fine. But we both said if our astigmatism was a little worse, it would be harder to do, and you would have to order the lenses. That's what's really cool with these, though. You can order lenses. They're typically on sale for around $60. There's more than one site, but I'll show one to you here. I'll put a link in the description. They're not very expensive. You put your prescription in, they snap right onto the inside of these, and then it will clear everything up for you if you're not able to get what you need out of these adjustments, or your astigmatism is maybe too severe, maybe you're over the 2.0 range or whatever, and it gets harder because you know how light goes in our eyes when we have that. It's harder to get those edges clear. I can get the middle really clear if you have a bad one, but the edges could get you. So you'll just have to see how it works for you in that way, but just be aware if you're a glasses wearer, contacts wearer, there's a lot of adjustment here for you. It should be fine, but if you have astigmatism that's too severe, you are going to probably need to order those lenses. So yeah, as far as fit, comfort, adjustment, they've done a great job of making them comfortable. A lot of adjustment for different people to be able to use them. Lenses out there to order if you need them. And overall, I think that they will probably fit and feel comfortable for most people. Again, myself and my wife, who doesn't use tech and doesn't care about this stuff, loves these things. Like she really, really thinks they're really cool. So yeah, that's your comfort and your adjustment and everything like that. Let's get in and talk a little bit more about using these things with the devices, and we'll start with like the Ally Steam Deck and Legion Go that I've been using these on, and then we'll talk about that dock and the Switch a little bit more as well. Okay, so I've spent a good bit of time with these on the Ally X, the Legion Go, and the Steam Deck, and all of them perform really great with these glasses. The other cool thing is you don't need the dock or anything with those. Those all have display like USB-C out, so all I have to do is connect my magnetic connector here, take this, plug it right into my Ally, my Legion Go, my Steam Deck, or whatever, boom, and display right up here. Good to go. So they're very fast, very easy to use. It doesn't feel like inconvenient that I got to grab the glasses and plug it in. It works really, really well. And all three of those devices have worked flawlessly for me with these, like no glitches or hiccups or problems, and they've worked great. Having a higher refresh rate is really nice at 120 hertz. So when I play games that can take advantage of a higher refresh rate, I definitely notice that it's, you know, comfortable, less eye fatigue. I really like that we can go up even above 60 here with these. Watching movies has been really, really cool. That's been a whole new kind of experience for me with these. It is like a giant movie theater screen when you sit right up against, you know, when you sit too close, too far to the front in the theater. But that's uncomfortable when you're like this. With these, it's just there, and you're getting that giant screen really close to you, but without any of the fatigue or the neck issues or any of that. Which brings me to kind of another thing I want to mention with these is normally, like, let's say I grab one of these things here. What do we got? We got the Steam Deck right here. So let's say I grab this, you know, I'm playing. Typically you're looking down like this, either no headphones or headphones, whatever you've got going, or if you're in bed, you might be trying to hold it up here. I have a lot of neck issues, and from physical labor and construction, vertebrae at a place in my neck that I get worked on and stuff like that. So sometimes like looking down like this for even 15-20 minutes will really, you know, I'm going to get a headache that comes right through here. Or if I'm, you know, looking a certain way. These have solved so much of like the awkwardness for my neck just looking down at this screen or anything like that. I can take the device, plug it in, I can just hang out, I can look wherever's comfortable for my neck and just still be holding this playing, or connect a Bluetooth controller if I don't even want to hold the device. So I just wanted to mention that. I know not everybody has that kind of an issue, maybe, you know, with your neck and stuff, but I do. I suffer with it a lot, and sitting here working on stuff and editing can really get to me. And when it goes time to play to play games or anything like that, and I have to look down or anything, it hurts, it does get pretty old. These have solved a lot of that for me, so take that as you will. If you're someone that has those kind of issues, it might be important to you. Now, as far as gaming, so besides the movies and the comfort and neck and all that, the gaming has been phenomenal on here. It's bright, it's beautiful, it works really well. All of the devices have ran the games great this way. Of course, with the Steam Deck, you may be adjusting resolution in the other devices, but like I was playing Metaphor 900p, you know, on the X, 800p on the Ally, and 800p on the Steam Deck, and it was great. I made the mistake of playing Silent Hill 2 on the Ally X with these, and I will say it's probably a little too immersive for me to be playing Silent Hill 2 on these, because it was in my face. Okay, we had a moment there where I got to the first Pyramid Head area where you're in the second apartment buildings, right, when you go in, and you have that first meeting. It was just there and in my ears with and the sound. So super immersive, super cool, but I might have to stay away from the horror games for me at my older age. Wearing these things, but it was really great. It was really cool, and a lot of other games that I've tried too, and anything that's like colorful, the colors in here are great. So you're playing some like colorful games or anything. I actually got to a point where when I'm wearing these and I'm playing something super colorful or fun, and then I take them off and I go back to the native display, I noticed that the colors aren't popping as much on the device versus these. They're really, really nice for the contrast and for the color that you get. So movies and games worked great on all three of those devices for me, and definitely a great way to be able to experience all the different content that I'm using for the handhelds there. Now, before I move over and talk about the Switch and the dock that you get, which is just a really cool setup, I do want to talk about the Spacewalker app a little bit. I put this on the Ally X and on the Legion Go to play around with it. And while it's, again, really hard to show you guys, I'm not set up for great video taking here. Maybe eventually I'll find better ways to pull it off if I get to do more of this. But I'll try my best to show you. It's just really cool. I've been able to set up for triple display inside of these. So when you're normally watching a movie or you're playing a game, you're gonna look around and stuff, and the screen will just stay with you, right? It's locked in here, and you're moving the display with you. When you use the Spacewalker app and you add 2 displays or 3 displays or whatever you want, it will track and it'll put the display right in front of you. And then when you move your head, you move to the next display. And it, like, you know, when you move it to the next display, and it doesn't stay with you anymore, and it works really, really well. I don't know that I will use it a ton for that. I would want that for productivity, and I think that my multi-monitors are a little better for me doing that than trying to navigate around and do everything. But it was really, really cool. So the Spacewalker app and the ability, whether it be on your phone or on your Windows PC or whatever, you can use that. And then you can have all the extra screens up, and it is a really nice feature. So I just want to mention that. It is something you can do with these, and it's really cool. All right, so one of the final things I do want to talk about and take a look at here is using my Nintendo Switch with that dock that they sent with this, which is just a really nice dock, and it makes the Nintendo Switch work great. So it's a little bit different setup how we got to go through it, but it works good. So you have your dock, and then you put it inside the holder for the dock, and then the Nintendo Switch goes in that, and you've got both units together. They supply you with a short wire that just jumpers between your dock and your Switch, and then you can plug your glasses in to one of the glasses ports. There's 2 ports because you can play multiplayer. If you have 2 pairs of these, you can actually get into multiplayer and all that. Really cool. The dock itself also supports 3D, just like the glasses, so you're not losing a feature if you happen to be going through that way with something besides a Switch. And because the dock is running on a battery when it's charged up, and you're plugging into a device like the Switch, it adds battery life. So you know, I think it's like 5 to 7 hours that the VITURE dock will actually add to your Nintendo Switch life. So not only are you getting a great way to play the Nintendo Switch, but you're getting battery life, and it looks fantastic. I talked about colorful games, right? Well, there's not much more colorful out there than Nintendo, and I'm still a lover of Nintendo at my age. I've played Nintendo games all my life, and no matter how much I love PC and tech and everything else, I will always fall back and be playing me some Nintendo games. And they look fantastic on here. I had no issues with this dock setup. I actually just would plug it all together, set it next to me, plug the glasses in, and use the 8-bit controller, which I have here. Let me grab this thing. And I would use this, with my Switch a lot. I haven't really used it on anything else. The other devices are light enough for me where I just hold them and play. But the controller has been solid, and it works great with the Switch. It reminds me a lot of the Pro controller, how it works. It's decent quality, and I really like it for that. So this is a great part of it if you want to have another controller or a dedicated controller for your VITURE devices or whatever there. It's even got the branding in the back for VITURE and 8-bit. A lot of nice gripping on here, very comfortable. You're used to the Pro controller, Xbox controllers, or anything like that. This has been excellent, and I've used it a lot for the Switch setup, mostly because you're not holding your Switch with that whole dock setup. So that is perfect to come with that dock and everything for the Switch. So then you're just sitting there with the Switch next to you, the one wire here, hanging out with your controller and playing the Switch game. Some of my favorite stuff, probably just the nature of these, was to play like the N64 or SNES stuff in here. It looked awesome, and it's still that like 4:3 aspect ratio, so it's not taking up the whole thing, but because it's such a large display in here and it's so bright and so colorful, games like Star Fox 64 and stuff from my childhood just looks amazing on these. And I found myself going through a bunch of my older games and getting into my emulation again and popping up a bunch of older games because they look awesome. Emulation and the Nintendo Switch stuff and everything, in my opinion, was some of the best out of all the experiences I had playing with these. Something about my retro game stuff I played as a kid, being on something like this that I would have dreamed of as a kid 30 years ago. Pretty awesome. So I just want to mention that with that. If you are a Switch gamer, emulation, any of that kind of stuff where you love retro games, I think these are actually an awesome thing for that. It's probably the thing I had the most fun with. Now, of course, not every product can be perfect, and there's always going to be downfalls. And for me, I think it comes down to a few things with this. I think most people are going to get these and not have any problem with finding the right nose pads, the right adjustments that they need, and getting them how they want them to be very clear, comfortable, and enjoy them. But there's going to be that set of people that just can't get used to it, or it just doesn't work for them. I mean, it just is. That's just the way it works. It's with VR, which I'm someone who can't do VR. I really have issue with VR headsets. No issue with these. So I would recommend these to pretty much anyone that's willing to spend the money, which we'll get into that next. But just know that I don't think 100% of people are going to adjust and love these things, but I think a majority of people will find them comfortable, clear, and really fun to use on their devices. But that did bring me to the price aspect, and they are a bit pricey, whether you are just getting the glasses or you're getting the entire kit that I have here for everything. It can be very difficult, especially in today's economy. We are all hurting in so many ways when it comes to that. So the price of these could be a put off for some people. But if it is something that you can afford and it is something that you're interested in, I think you're going to have a great experience with these things, especially if you're looking for another way to enjoy all of your content just right here where you're not bothering anyone or where you're immersed in the content. There's just a lot of different ways that I think people will use these. Another con, but I consider it a really small one, was something I mentioned earlier in the review, where you can see the glare inside here if you're not blacked out with your bright display in front of you. Like I said, right now I can see my full front of my shirt, move around and see Jack's skeleton and all that right here on the inside. But again, it's a small con and something that goes away as soon as I'm turning on and using and getting into everything. There's also no HDR support on these, which I'll throw in the cons here, but for me, completely not necessary. These things are so bright and so colorful that, again, I said earlier, when I take these off and go back to one of my other displays sometimes, I'm like, I can tell the difference at where's the color on some of these. So really good, really bright. So I know some people would really love to have that HDR or Dolby Vision or whatever you could cram in here, right? But they don't support it, and in my opinion, just really not a need from what I've seen with the brightness, clarity, and just the colors that pop in the display. And then maybe one last thing, if you want to throw this as a con, and it's a common sense thing, like if you're using your Steam Deck or your Ally or something and it's handheld, you're not plugged in, and you just plug the glasses in and you're using it, these are going to use more power than, you know, just your display on the device. So you might get a quicker battery drain on your device having these plugged in as well. I haven't done any real like official testing to say, hey, the Ally X lasts 2 hours at 25 watts gaming, but when you plug these in, it's an hour 40. I haven't done that kind of testing yet, but I do know something like this plugged in running with that, it is going to put more drain on that device, so just be aware of that. But yeah, ultimately, besides those things, that's really the only drawbacks I found in my time of trying to come up with like the cons for these things and issues people might have and that kind of thing. Because I think I'm going to be using these things quite often, maybe not daily, but I'm going to be using them quite a few times a week, especially hanging out back here, you know, with the wife and the kid and all that kind of stuff, and just sometimes wanting to throw these on and do something. It's been really fun. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up the review for the VITURE XR Pro glasses. I did my best here to show you guys and talk about my experience. There's definitely pros and cons to these kinds of things, but ultimately, I think these are a really, really good option and would recommend them if it's something that you've been looking into. All right, guys, thanks a lot for coming to check out the review and the video. As always, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.